G'day guys, today behind me I've got the Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. Now I'm super excited because the original Outlander plug-in hybrid was actually the first ever plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, and that was way back in 2013. So now, 10 years later, we're gonna take a look at the top-of-the-range Exceed Touring Spec. I'm gonna take you guys on an exterior tour, we're gonna go through all the interior features, and we're gonna have a look at everything that's included in this top spec Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid. Then we're gonna be taking it on the road. I'm gonna be seeing just how saucy it can be, and I'm gonna be testing its 0 to 100 launch to see if it lives up to the manufacturer's claimed 8.2 seconds. So before we get into the review, I just wanna let you guys know we actually have a website out now. So if you wanna read a full in-depth written article about this car, it will be up available now for you to read. And while you're there, go to carsource.com/finance. We have a finance partner driver that we believe will get you the best possible finance deal on your next car. So if you want to upgrade your old Outlander PHEV to the new one, then consider doing it through driver at carsource.com/finance. They'll compare all the options on the market and give you a complete cost breakdown so you know you're not going to get ripped off by your next finance deal. Let's get into this bad boy. So starting off at the front of the car, now guys, what do you think of this diamond black color? Now this is actually a standard no cost option on the Exceed Touring. However, if you go for the slightly cheaper model, the Exceed, you do have to spend about $1,000 to get this paint color. I think it looks super cool. Now this car shares a lot of components and it's built on the same platform as Nissan's X-Trail. If you're not aware, Mitsubishi, Nissan and Renault have essentially a partnership. So you'll notice we get similar kind of chrome highlights along the front, super reflective, and I think they look pretty cool. And overall, I think the front of this car has a really premium look. I mean, the grille is mostly plugged up given that this is a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. You do get your radar at the front here that's used for things like your adaptive cruise control. And you also get a couple of cameras up the top of the windshield there. And those are used for your safety systems. Now, if you want to read more in depth about the safety of this car, click on the link in the description or the comment section. We've got a written article on our website now. Anyway, continuing on, we also have our front-facing camera there that's used by the 360 camera system. And you'll see the 360-degree surround camera is actually pretty good on this car. Here we have our slim daytime running lights unit. Now this top section is only used for the daytime running lights, which are LED, and the indicators. Now, I heard rumors that there was going to be a sequential indicator on the top spec of the Outlander. Unfortunately not. I think they look pretty cool, so I was a little bit disappointed not to get that. We have our massive high beam set up there and our little LED daytime running lights down the bottom as well. Overall, a pretty good headlight setup. We have our massive Mitsubishi logo here, of course, and down the bottom we have some plastic cladding as well as some air intakes for the engine there. All right, let's check out the side. All right, so coming to the side of the Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid. So this top-of-the-range Exceed Touring Spec actually comes in at just shy of 70,000 Australian dollars before on-road costs. Now, the plug-in hybrid range kicks off at about $55,000 for the ES spec of the Outlander. And in that spec, you don't get as many luxuries as you do in this one, like the nice quilted leather interior, but more on that later. And you also get the smaller of the 18-inch alloys, which could potentially improve ride comfort. We'll come back to that as well. So available on the Exceed and the Exceed Touring are the larger of the alloy wheels. We get 20-inch alloys here. They are wearing some thin Bridgestone Ecopia tires. Matt and I have some interesting history with Ecopia tires.
Oh, come on. Just stop it. It's still wheel spinning.
All the way up to 50 when we reviewed the Corolla hatch. So I recommend you go watch that video after this one. Nonetheless, we have our plug-in hybrid EV badge there, pretty massive. You kind of want everyone to know that you care about the environment. We have our auto folding mirrors here with indicators there on the side and your side cameras for the 360 surround camera system. Keyless entry and go as well, so that's pretty cool. Check out this two-tone roof. I think it looks really cool, kind of cuts up the black. Otherwise, it would be probably a little dull without that. We do get some roof rails and some tinted privacy glass at the back there. And you'll notice there's a pretty big overhang on the side here, and that is because this car actually has 7 seats. Now, the 7-seat option is only available on the Exceed and Exceed Touring specs of the plug-in hybrid. And you'll see why I say this later on, but it's probably only for use in emergencies only. So let's check out the back. So here we are at the back of the Outlander plug-in hybrid. I love these wraparound taillights. They look super cool. They have this kind of like sideways T effect there, Mitsubishi badge there. We have our Outlander badge spelt out there, and also PHEV Exceed. You have this pretty bland looking gray garnishing down the bottom, and also pretty much no exhaust in sight. So I guess Mitsubishi are kind of going for that eco-friendly look. We also have a cool roof spoiler because it wouldn't be an SUV without that. And we have super all-wheel control spelt out. That is Mitsubishi's pretty much torque vectoring system. I'll talk more about that in the driving section. So that's pretty much the whole exterior of the car. I think it looks pretty sick. Let's check out the inside. All right, guys, so here we are inside the Mitsubishi Outlander. My first impression was, holy crap, is this actually a Mitsubishi? Like, this car is genuinely luxury. First up, the steering wheel. It is a leather wrapped unit. It's not my favorite thing about the inside of this car. It does feel a little hard, a little cheap in my opinion. You do get your adaptive cruise control buttons up here, pretty logically laid out, as well as your controls for your digital instrument cluster up front, which has a couple of different views you can cycle through. It's actually super bright, really clear. I'm very impressed with the display up ahead of the driver. And you have a bunch of different modes you can go through. You can look at how much energy you're using from the battery or the engine. I actually really like it. In my opinion, it kind of gamifies the whole trying to be as fuel efficient as possible. And it kind of makes me want to maximize how much power I'm getting out of the battery rather than the engine. At the end of the day, I'm just a dopamine addicted lab rat in this weird little experiment we call life. So I can go through a couple of different menus. Now, I did use up most of the EV driving around town before I came out to the countryside to review this car. Since coming out here, my fuel usage has jumped up to about 7 liters per 100 kilometers. Not the biggest deal in the world. Before, when I was driving around town and mainly using the EV, it was at about 1.5 to 1.7 liters per 100 kilometers, which was blowing my mind. Now, a really cool thing about the interior of this car is available only on the Exceed Touring, so the top spec. You actually get this two-tone, what they call saddle brown leather with the black leather. I think it helps brighten up the interior a little bit, kind of break up that boring black. Otherwise, it would probably feel like a bit of a German car. And I have to say, the quality of the materials are super nice, just soft touch materials everywhere. Even here, oh, I love this quilted leather with this brown stitching. It looks super, super luxurious. I'm honestly just blown away that this is a Mitsubishi, but anyway, moving on. Coming to somewhere that I'm not super impressed by is the infotainment screen. Look, it is a decent size unit. It's nice and bright. However, it is a little laggy and slow, and I believe it is starting to look a little bit dated. But thankfully, you're not going to be using it that much because you do get wireless Apple CarPlay. However, unfortunately, you only get wired Android Auto. But that's not a big deal. You have a USB-C port and a USB-A port up front, a wireless charger as well, and a 12-volt socket. We also get a physical climate control system, which is pretty cool. We get dual zone climate control up front, and we get our controls for our heated seats here, as well as our nice, very quality feeling knobs there. I really like that. I also like this silver kind of, it's almost like carbon fiber, but not really. And it actually houses your drive mode selector, which has 7 different drive modes on it. You got power, eco, normal, and then a bunch of different terrain modes like tarmac, gravel, snow, and mud. So this thing is absolutely capable of going off-road. It is an all-wheel drive. However, today I've pretty much only tested it on some light gravel and not very intense bouldering or anything like that. Apart from that, we get a decent sized glove box, a couple of cup holders here, and a really nice soft leather armrest with a little bit of storage. These seats, guys, oh my God, they're absolutely stunning. They have that quilted leather look as well. They are heated. And on the Exceed Touring, you actually get massage seats, which is pretty cool. Now, it's not the best massage seats I've ever experienced. It just pretty much kind of pumps up the lumbar support in and out. However, I'm not going to complain about the inclusion of massage seats. That would just be extremely privileged of me. Anyway, moving on. The seats are really comfortable, guys, seriously, and it's really nice, soft leather. Just really, really quality. I'm really impressed. I like this fake carbon fiber stitching on the door as well. We get some pretty big door bins. And before I move on to the back, I just want to give a shout out to the 9-speaker Bose system available on the Exceed and the Touring. Look, it's not the best sound system I've experienced. It definitely sounds a little tinny. However, I can't complain too much. It is decent. Oh, and how can I forget this massive panoramic sunroof? All right, I think that sums up the front. Let's check out the back seats. All right, so the back seats of the Outlander plug-in hybrid. Now, the first thing I really like about the back seats is you actually get stadium style seating. So the reason why my head is actually so close to the roof is because the back seats are higher than the front seats. You can probably see my knee line is actually quite high up on the front seat. And that's to give you the ability to see over the driver. So on long road trips, you won't get car sick. Staying on the topic of seats, we actually get heated seats back here, which is pretty nice. We've got this nice quilted leather continuing as well. We also have a fold down armrest. So all you have to do is pull this thing here, fold it down like that, and we get a couple of cup holders and a nice soft leather armrest there, and also a pass-through to the third row or the boot. Moving on to the rest, we actually get a third zone of climate control back here. That's super duper nice. Overall, it's pretty spacious back here. I've got a decent amount of legroom sitting behind myself. Toe room is pretty awesome until we have to put the seats forward, but I'll get back to that in a minute. And yeah, overall comfort is pretty good. I do find that these seats are kind of small, so my lower thighs are not super supported, but that is kind of nitpicking. I do like these leather pockets in the seat in front of me, as well as a pretty decently sized door bin. And again, we get just quality materials everywhere. So clearly Mitsubishi haven't cheaped out on the back. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed about the interior of this car. So I think it's about time we try and fit into the third row. So while I'm here, I will show you, you do actually have to bring the second row of seats forward in order to access the third row. So I'll bring my seat forward just to show you how far forward it goes. There you go. And it could actually go a little bit further forward than that. But as you can see, it's a massive distance that this can travel. And that's the only way you're going to be able to give the third row occupants any room. So like I said, it's only for use in emergencies, but let's see how I fit back there. So I'm going to try my best to climb into the third row of this car. Wish me luck. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, man. Okay. All right, that wasn't too bad. So now let's just fold this back. Okay. Now that I'm back here, I actually have a little bit of leg room. I mean, I have absolutely zero toe room. That's non-existent. Remember, this is only when the second row passenger puts their seat all the way forward. Realistically, they're not going to be squashed all the way up against the driver. So I am probably going to have very little leg room normally as well. Headroom, as you can see, is non-existent. I'm only like 5'10", so any adult of pretty much any description is going to have a pretty miserable time back here. I cannot even straighten my neck. And I mean, these headrests are just super weird looking. I can kind of try and lean like this, but look, I would not want to spend any time back here under any circumstances. Let's check out the practicality. All right, let's see what this thing can fit in its derriere. Ooh, electronic tailgate, very cool. Even with the third row up, they don't actually take up that much space, so I can fit probably, I would say, one large suitcase in the back here. Now, if I want to fold down the second row, I just pull this up, push this down, and I get even more space. Now, for the life of me, I haven't been able to figure out how to pull this third row flat. From the instructions, it says pull this and then pull this, and it should fold down and give me a flat boot space, but something seems to be jammed. So I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. Let me know in the comment section. I just haven't been able to get this completely flat. We have a little bit of underfloor storage. And a really cool thing is with the Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid, you actually get what Mitsubishi call their V2X system. So that allows you to pretty much offload power from the car to pretty much any home appliance or even your home in general. So that means you get 1500 watt AC power adapters, and there's one right here in the boot. That's very cool. You could probably power a coffee machine off that. If we want to put down the second row, it's pretty simple. We can just pull this latch and down she goes, and then pull the second one, and then down he goes, because I've just gendered the back seats. And you get a pretty flat storage area. I can't say it's completely flat, because once again, I haven't been able to get this third row flat, but you do get just shy of about 1500 liters with those folded, and with them up, you get about 500 liters of space. So plenty of practicality in this car. Let's talk about something pretty complicated with this car, which is the powertrain. So before we check out under the bonnet, let's just have a quick look at the charging and battery situation in this car. Alrighty, so given that this is the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, you get your charger ports on this side, and you get your petrol on the other side. So just don't forget which side which is on, because it can probably get very confusing. But opening this up, you can actually see we get a fast charger adapter, which is pretty impressive. We have a little blinking LED light that tells us what our status is, and we can access our charger port there. So the Outlander plug-in hybrid has a 20 kilowatt hour battery. Mitsubishi claim an 84 kilometer range on electric charge only, though I have heard in some cases people are able to get up to about 80 kilometers of real world usage, which is very impressive off just a 20 kilowatt hour battery. If you were to plug this into just your average wall socket at home, you should be able to charge it fully in about 9.5 hours. I think this is an excellent solution for people that don't want to install a proper EV charger in their home. In ideal circumstances, you could get about 3,000 kilometers to a tank if you keep the electric motor charged up all the time and you drive in eco mode. All right, let's check out what powers this thing. Alrighty, so this is a really cool part of the Mitsubishi Outlander, is this engine and electric motor setup. So opening this up, you can see we have an electric motor and a petrol motor side by side. So this car actually has two electric motors in total, one on each axle, the front and the rear, and a 2.4 litre naturally aspirated petrol engine. So the petrol engine by itself makes about 96 kilowatts and 200 Newton meters of torque. So obviously not the most powerful engine. Mitsubishi knows that the people that buy this car are going to want fuel efficiency above all else. So the electric motors add another 250 Newton meters of torque. So that gives you a staggering total of about 185 kilowatts of power, 450 Newton meters of torque. This thing shifts. Now, all that power is sent to all four wheels via a transaxle transmission. Essentially, it's just a CVT, which means it has just one gear. It's like a rubber band that stretches. Look, I couldn't care less if it has a CVT. All I care about is how does this thing launch to 100? Alrighty, so switching the car into power mode. Now, Mitsubishi claimed that this thing will do 0 to 100 in 8.2 seconds. Let's see what it can do. Brake boost launch. Nice. Come on, EV. Come on. Oh, that looks good. It looks good. Whoa! What? 7.77 seconds on a slight uphill. Are you kidding me? That's amazing. All right, let's drive this thing normally. Alrighty, so driving the top-of-the-line Exceed Touring Outlander PHEV. Let's give it some sauce in normal mode. Oh yeah, we can hear that CVT transaxle transmission, whatever that means, working overtime to keep me up to speed. I have noticed the car loves to be in EV mode driving around town, but then anytime you get above about 75 k's an hour, it's mostly going to be using that 2.4 litre petrol engine. Now, I've driven quite a few hybrid cars, not so many plug-in hybrids to be honest, and I have to say, the drivetrain in here is very smooth. So while I've got the car in normal mode, I'll talk a little bit about comfort. I have to say, I was pretty impressed with my initial impression of the car just driving around town. And then I kind of changed my opinion a little bit when I took it out to the back roads, because when you switch it to tarmac mode and you give it a bit of sauce, going over any kind of bump, there is a bit of an impact. All right, mate. It's just that Mitsubishi don't tune their cars on Australian roads, and we have some of the harshest roads in the world. So you really do notice that kind of as you come out of a bump, the suspension does like to float in the air a little bit. It's a little bit uncomfortable, but like I said, around town, it's a really comfortable ride. All right, switching back to normal mode. Let's switch to eco mode so I can talk a little bit about the regen braking. Obviously, being a hybrid car, the petrol engine is used to charge the electric motor, but you do get the added benefit of a 20 kilowatt hour battery. All right, let's just give it some sauce up here and see how we go in eco mode. Yeah, the throttle response is dampened a little bit. I take my foot off and the regenerative braking can kind of slow me down enough to get around this corner. And the handling is surprisingly good, guys. So Mitsubishi have this system called Super All-Wheel Control with active yaw control as well. And that's actually carried over from things like the Evo originally. So this thing actually handles really well around corners. It feels a lot more nimble than what the weight would suggest. But I guess that's also due to the lower center of mass from the bigger battery. It really does feel very composed going around the corners. There's not as much body roll as you'd expect, but the real test is going to be going around saucy corners. So let's see how we go. I'm going to put the car into power mode, which is its full fat sport mode. I'm going to give it a bit of a brake boost launch. Let's do it. Oh, come on, EV. Give me a hand up this corner. Here we go. First hairpin. Touch on the brakes. Oh, a little bit of understeer there with the all-wheel drive. Not too bad, not too bad. Oh, you can hear those Ecopia tires just struggling to maintain grip, but that was really impressive for a car that, I mean, really has no right to do that. So let's get into my final thoughts. So my final thoughts on the Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid Exceed Touring. This thing actually blew me away. Its driving dynamics, its comfort, even its technology impressed me. And I believe that Mitsubishi have delivered essentially a full package with this car. Now, would I like to see some proper lane centering? Absolutely, yes, I would. Could the ride comfort be a little bit better? Absolutely, yes, it could. I'm personally super excited to see where this car goes. I think as it stands right now, it's actually pretty good value at about $70,000. If you're after a luxury family SUV that can fit 5 in the back in a pinch, but, you know, comfortably seat 3 in the back, this is an excellent option. It's not gonna be the most capable off-roader. It's obviously got that massive rear overhang, but it does have 7 different driving modes. So if you need to go off-road, this will absolutely be able to get it done. This thing really blew me away in terms of how fun it was to drive, how quick it was off the mark, and the drive modes actually make a difference. It actually feels like it changes the dynamics of the car. But as always, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you need car finance for your next car, new or used, go to carsource.com/finance. The link is up there for you now. If you want to watch our review of this thing's pretty much twin brother, the Nissan X-Trail STL, click up there. Or if you want to see another really awesome family option that's not an SUV but a wagon, check out our Subaru Outback Turbo review, which I thought was a really cool car. Anyway guys, that's all from me for today. Ciao for now.